Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing another content creator video, this time on Vision Aarkus, I believe how you pronounce it. He's a new champ coming into the game in a few days. I only get temporary access to him for some testing, and then he's removed from my account. This is a 5-star rank 3, level 200 sig. So we're going to take him in some gameplay, we're going to show you some of his abilities. It's not going to be a detailed guide, but kind of a first look guide on some of the things that he can do. And then at the end of the video, I will also show some stats of him, and we'll talk about my personal feelings about him. So let's get started. So let's start off with the power of a smoke world. When he starts to fight, Vision draws strength from the smoke world dimensions. He starts to fight with a power gain buff, which you see below the health bar, and gains one every 10 seconds. These buffs last indefinitely. The first one grants Vision 4% of power every 1 second, and every one after that basically is 33.3 less effective. So they combine and they actually give him some half decent power. He also gains 1 whenever his power is drained or receives a power lock debuff. So now we'll talk about Frozen Air, Armor Break, and Cold Snap. Basically, when Vision has a power gain buff active, it has to be active, it can't be nullified. As long as that power buff is active, he freezes the area near him, and every 2.3 seconds the opponent spends near Vision, they gain an Armor Break debuff, decreasing armor rating for 5 seconds, and these armor breaks can go up to 10 stacks. Armor Break debuffs on the opponent are paused while they are near Vision, so basically that 5 seconds can be extended as long as you are somewhat close to the opponent. While the opponent is near Vision and they have a Armor Break or Armor Shatter debuff, we'll talk about Armor Shatter a little bit later, they also gain, this is really important, a Cold Snap debuff, dealing energy damage every 0.5 seconds. But the best part of the Cold Snap debuff is evaders won't be able to evade. So Miles, as you see here, Nightcrawler, regular Spider-Man, certain nodes like Mesmerize will be no problem for this particular Vision. Of course, if they have a immunity to debuffs, that will still be a problem. But for most part, as long as you have a Armor Break up, which flows into a Cold Snap debuff, opponents will never be able to evade. So that's a very, very nice ability. So now we'll talk about the Special 1 attack. First off, all special attacks, hits from special attacks pause all Armor Break debuffs on the opponent until the end of the special attack. So you won't actually be losing your armor buffs as they expire during a special attack phase. Special 1 attack refreshes all the Armor Break debuffs on the opponent. So if you have 3 or 4 expiring, you use your SB1, they will all be reset, so that's very nice. If the opponent is Armor Shattered, which we'll talk about later, it also deals 2,277 bonus energy damage. So Special 1 is okay, it's really just for resetting armor breaks. It doesn't actually cause armor breaks, it just resets them. But the Special 2 and Special 3 are probably the best part of the character, which we'll talk about soon. So now we'll talk about the Special 2 and the Armor Shatter. Basically, when you use your Special 2, it replaces all Armor Break debuffs on the opponent with 1 Armor Shatter debuff. For each Armor Break removed, this debuff lasts 5 seconds longer and reduces armor rating. So basically, you can get up to 10 Armor Breaks on the opponent. So if you use your Special 2, that's 10 times 5, which gives you 50 seconds of Armor Shatter, which is pretty nice. If you do less, say like 5 Armor Breaks and you do your Special 2, that's 5 times 5, that's 25 seconds of Armor Shatter. Now, while the opponent is Armor Shattered, opponents cannot suffer from more Armor Break debuffs, nor can they activate their armor buffs. Also, much like Medusa, if you shatter the robots, it reduces their power gain and ability accuracy by 100%. So that's pretty sweet against robots, and it can last a long, long time. And he actually has another synergy, which we'll talk about later, that makes his Armor Shatter even cooler. If he already has an Armor Shatter up, and you do your Special 2 again, you won't do anything extra except for extra energy damage, so it's just a bit of a bonus. So next we'll talk about the Special 3 attack. Basically, after the Special 3 attack is done, the entire area is frozen, and also you have a possibility of a Fury buff, which we'll explain a little bit later. Basically, like I said before earlier in the video, you have to be close to the opponent to basically Armor Break and cause Cold Snap. But after in Special 3, for the first 20 seconds, you can be anywhere on the screen, and you will basically Armor Break and Cold Snap every 2.3 seconds automatically. You don't have to be close to the opponent. So you can actually stay away and just let the Armor Breaks just basically fall off the opponent, which is a very nice ability. I also mentioned that it's possible to get a Fury buff, but this only works if you have an Armor Shatter active when you release your Special 3. So you have to have an Armor Shatter going, you do your Special 3, when the Special 3 is over, you will get a Fury buff. You'll see it below the health bar here in a moment. We'll see it right now. There's the Fury buff. This lasts for 20 full seconds, and it actually works pretty good. It makes him hit a lot harder, and it's quite impressive. You just gotta remember, you have to have Armor Shatter up first, and then do your special 3. If you do not have Armor Shatter up, then you only get the abilities from the Frozen Air, which I mentioned a little bit earlier. So let's take a look at the synergies. My favorite are the Armor Shatter metal enemies and armor debuffs last longer, but let's take a look at them all. First, you get the typical teammates. All champions gain plus 5% perfect block with Doc Strange, Winter Soldier, Cap, and Namor. This one here is okay. Special attack costs 15% less power. This is one I really like here. Dry Ice. Vision Aarkus increase the duration of armor break debuffs by 2 seconds flat, which is nice. Iceman increase the duration of Frostbite passive by 4 seconds, which is nice. And Mysterio increases the duration of Reflection and Frenzy Gas by 3 seconds. But my favorite is with the 2 visions. Armor Shattered also decreases ability accuracy and power gain of all tech champs who rely on metal. So all the champs in the game that have a tag of metal, basically you can do the exact same thing you do against robots. You can Armor Shatter them. Their ability accuracy and their power gain will be reduced by 100%. So champs like Vulture and Iron Man and any champ that relies on metal has to have the metal tag. You can actually shut their regeneration down, their power. It's great. And also Vision, power burn effects also grant a Fury buff for 6 seconds. The Fury potency increases with the amount of power burned. So the more burn that you actually do with Vision, the better your Fury. We all know Vision isn't the biggest hitter in the game, so an extra 6 seconds Fury buff is very, very nice. So let's take a look at that metal one in action. So here we have the Vision Synergy. This particular Vulture has the metal tag. I use my SP2. We'll just wait for him to use his special 1 here. He uses special 1, we go on attack. No power gain because he's armor shattered just like robots. He won't be able to regenerate if you could do it. His ability accuracy is reduced by 100%. So any champ in the game that has the metal tag, you can armor shatter as long as they're not debuff immune. So that's a pretty sweet ability with the Vision Synergy and something to keep in mind. So now we're going to talk about the signature ability and the passive abilities. These are mostly defensive, so I'm not going to showcase them, I'm just going to talk about them. The signature ability is called Smoke and Mirrors. Whenever Vision gains a non-damaging debuff, he has a chance to purify one of each non-damaging debuff on him. This cannot trigger more than once every 9.5 seconds. So I'm presuming a non-damage debuff would be something like an armor break. He'd be able to basically consume that and purify it, which is great. Again, his passive abilities are a little bit different. Aarkus reduces the potency of power drain effects by 80% and the duration of power lock effects by 50%. So good old magic hits him on a special 2. The power lock will only last 50% as long, for example. And he also has Aarkus gains 15% less power from landing and receiving hits. So he's kind of like Doctor Strange in that way. As he's hitting opponents, he actually receives less power. Actually just kind of moving away and let his power buffs actually increase his power are probably the better way to do it. So what are my final thoughts on Vision Aarkus? He's a pretty cool character. He kind of reminds me of a combination of Vision OG, Iceman, and Medusa put together. He's got some cool abilities. He seems to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. He's got Coldsnap, which is nice to stop the evasions. He's got the Armor Break. He's got the Armor Shatter, which can shut down robots. If you have the Vision Synergy, you can shut down metal opponents that have metal in their class tag with your Armor Shatter, which is nice. The SP3 can give you Fury if you have Armor Shatter up. The SP2 is probably the best damage dealer. It looks very difficult to dodge, so it might be very good for Alliance War. Now, what do I do not like about him? No immunities, which is a drag, especially if you want to run suicides. Again, he's not the biggest hitter in the game from what I've seen. I've only been playing him with rank 3 5-star, so I can't be 100% sure, but it seems a little low. And finally, the debuffs that he puts on his opponents automatically are nice, but sometimes you go up against champs that actually gain power or regeneration from having a debuff put on them, like the Ultron in Act 5 Final Boss. If you take this guy up against the Ultron in Act 5, you place a Armor Break and Coldsnap on that particular Ultron automatically, and then he gains power and regeneration and kills you right away. So sometimes placing debuffs on opponents automatically can actually be a hindrance. So to sum up, we'll take a look at his stats. I know some people like to see that since they don't have access to the character. This is a SIG 200. So we have a attack rating of 1265 there. And we have, we'll go by percentages here, a critical rating of 23%, critical damage rating of 180%, armor rating 18%, and block proficiency 64%. His signature ability scales pretty good. At SIG 200 he has a 100% chance to purify those non-damaging debuffs. So yeah, there you have it. That's his abilities. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please don't forget to smash that like button, leave comments, dislike, subscribe to the channel, click on the notification button. I appreciate all your support. Definitely takes me some time to build these guides and these type of videos, so I appreciate you guys showing your support. And yeah, so take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon, and good luck on your next crystal openings.
Target identified. Analysis complete. Please subscribe.